Hello, everyone, wherever you are. I hope you're safe and happy, and I hope you have plenty of money, because in this life you're going to definitely need it. I mean, we live in a money world. You know, humans created that nightmare. I wanted to touch base on reincarnation, that, and the spirit world, which actually we're partially living in the spirit world now. People just don't realize that. But I could tell people so much, like I have in a lot of my videos, but people don't want to listen. I mean, people have been deceived, a lot of indoctrination, is a problem. Bias with people, fears. They want to cling to what they were programmed to believe when they were children. Or there are some people that are even programmed as adults to believe things that are not true, about this life or about themselves even. But I remember some of my previous life, and after I passed away in 1952, and the wife I had before I passed away in 1952. I remember, and I remember what happened, despite some issues. I don't think anybody can remember each and absolutely every detail, but you can pretty much know who you are. I mean, if you don't have fear, mental fear or whatever, everyone has an imagination, but an imagination is brilliant, or you wouldn't have automobiles or electronics or a computer or a cell phone if people didn't have imagination. So don't scoff too much there. I mean, but I do remember after me and my wife in 1952, after we passed away. I'm not going to tell the details of it, but we went, well, within 10 minutes or so of one another. I will say that much, and that's it. Because people are stereotypical, and it really doesn't matter at this time anyway. It doesn't matter. The type person I was back then, I was pretty much the same as I am now, passive and too honest. I've been told that about myself a lot of times, that I'm too honest. As to where people, they will take advantage of you if you're too honest or you appear to be too passive. I remember after me and my wife died back then, I remember the graveyard in New York that we were buried in. It's on Find a Grave right now, but I'm not going to tell you who I was, because it will freak people out because of what they don't know. I wasn't a bad person. I was an electronics engineer. I was Jewish, and my wife was Jewish. I lived in Canada. Well, originally I was born in Canada. And my wife, she was born and raised in New York City. She was also Jewish. Now, I was an aristocratic individual, but I was an aristocratic person. I came from that line of teachings and education and lifestyle. But most people, when you say aristocratic, they assume you lived in a mansion and that you had these slaves that lived in the walls. That's not true, because all through history there's been a lot of aristocrats. They would just stand up and they would have enthusiasm and say, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a jet pilot, I want to be an electrical engineer. And that's what I chose, to be an electrical engineer. And I worked for RKO Radio. That job I worked, I think it was in the late 30s, because there's actually information on the internet about the person that I was. And I wasn't some big rich cat, all that BS. No. There's just some historical clips. I'm in them. But I worked for RKO Radio, and of course I moved from Canada, to New York City. And okay, after me and my wife passed away, within 10 minutes, she had curly hair. She was shorter, about 5'2". I remember the spirit world immediately after we were buried in that New York cemetery. And I can go on Find a Grave and type in the names of her and myself that I was back then. And I look at those tombstones in that cemetery, and then I can turn the mouse to where I can see the gate, to where it went out, to where the tombstones would be to my left. And I remember I hung around there for 3 years. It may have been 2 years or 3 years. And I couldn't leave because I don't know where her spirit was. Or maybe she was busy with something else. But she was definitely in the spirit world. Sometimes spirits, they have to go deal with other things. Maybe she had to go deal with family or people or interest of her own, some commitment she might have had. But me, I remember I stayed in that graveyard and I was like, golly, I want to leave and just float away. I want to go places. I'm curious. How that, because even though I was in the spirit world, I could see the same material visions, people can see. The same as angels can see material visions of things. Like if an angel is in your home right now, or your guardian angel, they can see your television and look and see your stove and different things. It's just they're in a different predicament, another type reality. Like you can have two realities in one dimension, such as a dog cannot perceive what you can see, but that dog is still living in the same dimension, but it is limited in a way that you are not. And then there can be a cockroach or a wasp. It's in the same dimension you are, but it is limited to what it is. It's that simple, okay? Even though you're of the same dimension. Same with spirits. They can share the same dimension that we're in, but under different conditions. And that's why that you cannot see them. But through your mental vision, you can occasionally see multi-dimensional. Because most people, if they have been hurt very badly in life, they will say, it's like I was in another dimension. You can see things that other people do not see. Because this attracts spirits. It attracts, like when you go through great despair or tragedy, it attracts demons, unclean spirits, that were previously the fallen angels. It attracts them because you're at a weakness. And, you know, they have more of a chance of getting you to drink or be a druggie or to kill yourself or, you know, things of that sort, because your mind, you know, is not balanced when you've been hurt badly. Like when you lose a loved one or a spouse really does you over majorly. I definitely know what that's like. You know, but that's, it happens to a lot of other people. I'm not a special case. It's just, I don't have the fears other people have because I trust my own memory. Because there's some things, see, it's not just my memory of a past life and being in the spirit world, but see, the emotions are still in me. And if you can relive the actual emotions you felt in the spirit world or in a life before you, well, how could you feel an emotion for something if it never happened to you? I'm not talking about empathy, sympathy, or that. I'm talking about how could you feel the frustration of like those, what they did to me, you creeps, that was so wrong. You cannot feel that being the victim unless it really happened. But anyway, I hung around in that graveyard, and finally I got brave. See, I was scared to leave. Here's why I was scared to leave. Or I was too hurt to leave. It wasn't fear. I was actually anxious and enthusiastic about going on and, you know, evolving from there. It was because I thought, man, I can't leave her behind. If I leave this graveyard, I'm going to be leaving her behind. Oh my God. But somehow I got the ability to handle that hurt. And I floated out of there to where I could have always come back. And I don't know why this happened, but I remember after I was reborn, I'll fill in on what happened before I was born more, but I want to tell you what happened after I was born. Man, from the first time I started having a memory, I remember I used to run and tell my mom. You know, here in Houston, Texas, we lived in a 3-bedroom house back then. And I'd say, Mom, there's this lady that's about 40 years old with curly hair, and she screams at me and she's mad. And my mom said, why? And I said, well, she screams at me and she says, why did you go be reborn and leave me alone? You deserted me. You abandoned me. Oh, man. Whew. She was angry. She was very good to me in marriage, but she was the one that wore the pants in the marriage. She was the one that wore the pants because I was passive back then. I looked a lot the same too. I looked a lot the same as I do now. I wished I could tell y'all, but you know, God, I mean, people are so opinionated, and you know, it doesn't matter what you was in life. I was a regular person. Okay, now, I was well known just before me and her lost our lives. I was well known, but only because of an incident. See, I was an electronics engineer for RKO Radio. I wouldn't have been recognized any more than a person that was a supervisor at Rainbow or Sunbeam Baking Company. So I'm not trying to claim fame or, you know, that type of thing here. But anyway, I remember after I left that graveyard in New York, oh Lord, that may have been 1953, around there. Being in the spirit world. Okay, at first I was experimental. I wanted to stay in this realm, the worldly realm. Okay, I do remember I had no desire for sex. I had no desire for food. But I remember that there was rest periods. There was rest periods, but it's different in the spirit world. It's to where you want to slow down your mental. See, in the spirit world, your mind is the same. Your thoughts cannot be seen. So actually, that part of a person, you're living in the spirit world now because your spirit, your soul is in your body. And you can't see your thinking. It's like what allows the motor functionary, I believe it's called, for my thoughts to process into the nerves and muscles of my body to activate my vocal cords through use of air to talk verbally to you all in this video. Okay, the spiritual in me has to cause that. And you cannot see that, but you can hear me and see me physically. Okay? It's just a slowing down process to where you relax in the spirit world and you just stop thinking and it's resting. It's resting your entity, your thinking, because your entity is your thinking. And it's the same in the spirit world as it is in this life. It's based on predicaments. Like, you can be as big as you want to be. Like, I could expand myself up to any cloud I wanted to and look down and see things get smaller and smaller. And I could be walking over buildings or freeways. But it didn't make any difference because I had no effect on material matter. So it had no effect. But it was more convenient for me to reduce my size, and you just do this at will. The same way at will I can pick up my reading glasses here. At will, because see, my mental mind wills my body to do that. Okay. But in the spirit world, you can will yourself but I like to be around the size of people so I could see what they were doing. And then I did things in the spirit world that I couldn't have done in this life. I wanted to see what people really did and what they really talked about when they, like, nobody else was around and what really goes on in life. It amazed me at how evil people were. And I remember the evil people would talk about in their self-centeredness, their self-entitlement. I could see the darkness around them. But in the spirit world, there's a protection based on who you are, and you will automatically, and for your own sake, separate from what is negative. Similar to if you go pass by a dumpster and there's strong stench, you're going to turn your head and maneuver away from that. Well, it's the same thing with evil, because the mentality of evil, it has its vibes. The negativity can affect you. And that's even true in this physical life. But I watch things that people do, and I never forgot a lot of things I saw in the spirit world, because when I was reborn, what they tried to teach in gender education, I laughed about it as a child. Because I remember even as a child what they would try to say that women were. And I literally knew, just from watching what people did, by themselves in the closed room or whatever you want to call it, that women were actually more perverse and sexual than men were. So I laughed through my youth about that. I didn't hate women, but I thought, you people are so stupid. You don't even know each other. You don't even know each other, what you're about or anything. But, it doesn't matter. Even that it doesn't matter. It's just a phony, beliefs in people about certain things because they've been taught to believe certain things about life. It's amazing. But it's just that people are not taught the absolute accurate truth about things in life. And it's been known medically that girls sexually mature earlier than boys. What does that tell you? But this subject isn't about that. That's just one of the things. And the people that most people trust in are the worst people. And most everything people believe is absolute, total lies. Most things they believe never actually happened. And I do have some videos on here. If you thumb through them, of course I don't get any views. I don't know what that is. And I'm not going to monetize because I'm not looking to be popular. I'm not looking to make money. My quest here, I just want to share this with people, so I can tell them what they're going to look forward to eventually. And I can't answer anyone as far as if there's new souls or older souls. I don't know for sure that other people live previous lives. I just know I did. I know I did, okay? And, there's also many telltale signs, like, how did I have aristocratic knowledges as a child? I mean, because even before I started the first grade, I know all the technique. Start from the right with your silverware, your utensils. All of these things, how to sit, never put your elbows on the table, how to sit erect. I could walk with a book on my head without any problem. It was totally natural to me. And then my penmanship is incredible. It is French script. And for some reason, when I started learning how to spell words, like in elementary school in the first grade, the word color, C-O-L-O-R, it upset me that my teacher, Mrs. West, in 1962 in the first grade, I said, Mrs. West, I would always do it C-O-L-O-U-R, the Canadian way. And I still do it today, whether I'm spelling the word humor with the O-U-R on the end or color, O-U-R. Because that is, it's just literally embedded into me. And I was born in Canada in my past life, a Jewish person born in Canada. And I was taught to be aristocratic as far as eating habits, how to dress, how to stand, how to act. Now, I don't dress like an aristocratic now. No, I'm wearing a white t-shirt. I do like to wear white cotton denim shirts, dark blue jeans, but that's for my activities, like around the house, my landscaping, stuff like that. It's more practical to wear blue jeans. Okay, so my clothing, it's a matter of practical, and I like white shirts because to me it's neater. I like a white upper garment. I don't need another color shirt other than white. White is all I need. That is the color, okay? Okay, let's see. What else? Oh God, see, I don't rehearse this stuff. I believe if a person has to rehearse, it's because they're lying. If something is true, you can act from memory, and you can tell things as they actually are. Because if a person has to read a script, it's not the truth. Unless they want to remember particular subjects of matter, like, for example, about certain things. But I don't know what level in the spirit world I was. See, not all levels in the spirit world are the same. They are not the same. A person, I was still in an earthbound state in the spirit world, and you might could say I was partially lost because God protected me, yes, and I was allowed to be reborn. But why was I running around wanting to see what people said when other people didn't hear them, or what people did when nobody else noticed? It was curiosity, that, and I wanted to educate myself on what people really were. Their actual honest self, without the front that they wear out in the world. And, when I would get in people's cars or go in people's houses or whatever, it wasn't to be a peeping Tom. I wanted to educate on people, because, see, in the spirit world, I had no sexual appetite, because you don't have hormones in the spirit world, people. And I do remember in the spirit world seeing men and women kiss, and it used to agitate me, because I could not understand that. Because, see, once you're in the spirit world, you forget when you lived in the physical world. You forget those sensations or feelings. And when people would kiss, it's like this stupid waste idiocy is happening again. And it upset me, because to me it's like, well, I'm not going to learn anything watching them do something that there's no purpose in doing it. I mean, or whatever. And then when you're reborn, like I'm in the physical world now, you can't necessarily remember the sensations you had in the spirit world, because there's no hormones there, there's no taste buds there, I mean, there's no hunger or whatever, I mean, or those things. But nobody knows the answers, people. Nobody knows the answers. Because when I was in the spirit world, there's probably so many levels of the spirit world. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And there's so much I could tell you people about, but you're not going to listen. Because there are some things you're not ready to learn. Most of all of you people, you have been mentally programmed since childhood. What you knew when you was 4 years old is actually reality. What you started believing after you were, let's say, 5 years old is not true. That's pretty much the accuracy or the truth of it. Pretty much. Because most things, most children have got it down. They actually know reality, but see, they're taught another reality that's a lie. It does not exist. Like, if you look at my video on the moon landing, Egyptology, I know when those pyramids and that Sphinx were built. And I know how they did that. I know exactly how they did that. It's not at all what people think it is. You've all been lied to. But does my video, I made it about 3 years ago. It's on Egyptology, the moon landing hoax. It doesn't get any views. Nobody listens to me. So see, people aren't ready yet. They're not ready to know the truth about things. I mean, but if people want to start learning about reality, okay, first off, here's some advice. Stop watching television. Stop playing with cell phones. Don't text people. Don't do that. It's okay for a receipt from a business or a business acknowledgement like Roger, we got your payment, yeah. It's okay, but don't text people. Call them. Verbally talk to them. Do not text, because see the enormous time that is wasted. And don't waste time watching movies. That's play acting. Like, I get on YouTube, but the reason why? To educate. The purpose is to educate. Now, a lot of times I do watch movies from like the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, but I'll tell you why. Because it makes me remember the type cars and stuff I drove in my previous life in the 1930s and 40s. It makes me remember it. See, it's the scenery I'm interested in, not the plot, but the scenery. And that type of thing. And some things I like for the music, like the movie American Pie. I like to watch that, both parts of it, because that's high school. That's healthy high school. There. And I love the music by the Tonic Group. I love good music. I do love good music. I can't think of anything else right now, but the past always exists, people. The past never, ever, ever goes away. And there is the Almighty God, the Creator, the Son of God, Jesus Christ. Okay, that is the highest. Okay, Almighty God and Jesus Christ is absolute logic, all knowledge, all intelligence, and all love. That is the only way to go. And in this life, anything you do wrong to another person, either in this life and definitely in the spirit life, you're going to have to go through the exact same thing and worse. People need to read the story in the Bible about Lazarus and the rich man. Read the story, because that is a reality. It's you reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. And it's oh dear. But you all have a long way to go. My belief is I'm about 80 years ahead of most people. Because here's something people are going to realize once they mentally advance. It's not about mechanical things, gadgets, electronics, or structures that is advancement. See, that's not true. The building of things is not advancement. Those are for conveniences to make things easier, or should make things easier. Enhancement is to become more in tune to God and nature and who you are. Because see, you're in a predicament for what you are given to work with in this dimension, like I was talking about earlier. And what men and women need to realize, once you become an enhanced human being, which could occur in the next 80 years, a person is both sexes. See, there is not one sex. See, like God made the hormone estrogen, and the hormone testosterone. Okay, those hormones are in both sexes. But when a person learns how to mentally balance them to where they are both sexes, see, that's when you will be enhanced. Because there's one thing I like that Betty Eadie said in her video. It was on a talk show. It was on a 2-part talk show. And she said she met Jesus Christ. And she said he looked like a combination of male and female. Exactly. Because God created the man, and then God created the female. When people become enhanced, they are both. See, like myself, I am a man and a woman. You people don't understand this because, see, you're thinking in terms of sexuality and physical function. That's not what I'm talking about. See, once your mind becomes advanced, like if I'm talking to a woman, I can mentally activate my estrogen and allow it to rise because I don't have fear and I have control of it rather than its balance controlling me. And I can understand her for exactly how she feels and what she may have went through or what her goals are. When I'm talking to a man, I can raise the testosterone level and understand his feelings and his views. This, people, is what is enhancement. But it's going to take people, either people are going to totally fail within the next 80 years, or they're going to enhance. It's one or the other. I think they might further be dumbed down further, is my personal opinion. Okay? That is my personal opinion, just the way things are going today. But mental enhancement is when you become in tune with nature. Because like if a man was mentally enhanced, he would not chase women. Because that's based on nature controlling him for the purpose of procreation, which is no different than nature controlling the male dog to make him chase the female dog. You see what I'm saying? That right there. So that right there. Where men and women, they could still enjoy intimacy, but they don't have to be compelled by their desires and their urges and their rapid pulse. They don't have to be compelled by that. They can do it for mere pleasure instead, because they can control it mentally. They are in control of that. So people, they think they're advanced. No, they're not. They have a long way to go. The other thing I want to tell you people, please listen to me. I say please because nobody listens to anything I say. You know, I've even tried to talk to my own mother. And here's what I get. Yeah. You see, it's just a waste of damn time. It's just a waste of time. So a lot of us, we have to have our knowledges, and we just have to share it back and forth with God and with ourselves, because people are not going to listen to what we're trying to tell them. We can try. We should never give up to try, because there can be a person that has potential, that wants to learn, that has not been programmed by other people, that might be able to learn and listen to what I'm telling them. Okay, here's something else you people need. There are no aliens from outer space. No aliens are from outer space. Because God isn't going to allow that in this dimension. God is only going to allow it to be a certain way. He's not going to allow anything from another place come here that he doesn't want here. God made this place for humanoids and animals and crop and sea life. Just simple as that. And there are no aliens. What That is influence from Satan that wants people to believe it's aliens that will help people or advance them, that is only impersonating unclean spirits that can be called familiar spirits. That can imitate a loved one or pretend to be a friend. That's all that is. It's demons. There are no aliens from an outer space. There are also no satellites. There are ground towers, but there are no satellites. If there were satellites, why does AT&T and Comcast, why are they still using cable, telephone lines, fiber optics? Why would they need to do that if there were satellites, you see? I mean, there are no satellites because there's no place for them to float. There's a firmament above the earth that God made. And the stars are under that, the moon and the sun are under that, and then the cloud is under the sun and the moon, the clouds. Okay, what else? About the CERN unit. There is nothing mystical about the CERN unit. There is no demons coming out of the CERN unit. Okay? All the CERN unit is, it's a long cylinder underground, and it has what is a piston. The piston builds up speed, and then when it reaches the end, 15 to 20 miles, a combustion stroke, like in an engine. Its purpose was to, this goes back to Adolf Hitler. It's my belief it's to dispose of, I'm not going to say any more than that, but there are no demons coming out of CERN. That's a bunch of silly, ridiculous nonsense. Demons work through people. That's where your demons are, okay? They work through people's minds, and a lot of people have demons in their body. They're demon possessed, plain, pure, and simple. That's where that goes. But, so, as far as CERN, quit listening to it. It's like a giant car cylinder with a piston in it, is all CERN is. And it's used so that they can destroy things. And I'm not going to say what. You figure out the rest, okay? Because I'm not an extremist, even though I have the knowledge. I'm not an extremist because I don't live in fear, and people jump to conclusions about things, okay? But anyway, praise the Lord Jesus Christ for giving me the wisdoms that I do have. And, I hope you people can learn to choose the most valuable things in life are love. That's where the value is. Material things cannot do anything for you. Many of people pass on, die with a fortune in the bank. It doesn't do them any good. It doesn't do them any good. And your predicament in this life, once you're in the spirit world, it's not going to be any different. It's going to be the same. Because see, as entities, we don't really change. I was the same in my previous life as I am right now. In the spirit world, I was the same as I am right now. And in this life, I'm the same as I was in those two existences. It's no big mystery. And if you believe in Jesus Christ, there's nothing to fear. I mean, Jesus said that. He said, "Fear not, for I am with thee." Exactly. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's like people, it's like, oh God, when the world ends, volcanoes are going to erupt and all that. God's not going to do that, people. You might have people on this earth that do that stuff with explosives, but God's not going to do that. God is not mean or violent. God is logic and love. I mean, those are things that were produced, taught to people to create fear so that they would stay in enslavement. What you need to fear is if you do other people wrong, that in this life and in the spirit world for sure, you're going to pay for it. You are going to pay for it. Because nothing You know, you have to do others as you would have them do you. You cannot tell lies on people, and you have to have consideration. Like, you cannot own a company and then have a person working from you that's from a lower income family and take advantage of them and make a slave out of them. You know, like I've seen all of my life. You can't do things like that. Because either in this life or in the spirit world, you're going to have to be that low wage earner that was a slave also. You're going to have to go through that in one way or the other. You're going to go through the same. Because everything, you reap back what you have sown, the seed that you planted. Like, if a man worked for a rich company as a janitor for 30 years, and he was browbeaten and treated bad by the boss's mistress and the boss. Do you know that boss and his woman, you know, that smart-ass secretary that was his suck-up, you know, I'm being direct in language there. Do you know, eventually one way or the other, they were going to have to go through the equivalent of that 30 years that that janitor went through? See, if people literally knew this like I literally know this, they would start doing right. They'd start doing right now. See, they don't preach this in any church. You know why? Because they'd lose members. It's same as I don't get views. This video might have 50 views in 6 months. See, because I'm not telling people what they want to hear. And then I'm not doing it for the sake of making money, like monetizing my videos. See, that's the big difference. But, you know, my voice will be heard because, see, everything I say, even if people don't view my videos, okay, if you study quantum science, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, nothing is ever wasted. The vibrations of my voice go all over this dimension. And people are going to pick up on it. It's as simple as that. Because we all pick up on each other's thinking, okay, in this life. But anyway, may God bless y'all, you know, and remember to do each other right. And now, as always, I'm going to try to find the stop button. You know, it seemed like I would remember that by now, okay? But anyway, it's about 4:30 a.m. for me, my favorite parts of the day, midnight to 5 a.m. I love it. When people are asleep, it's more peaceful, you know? And why would that be unless people were the root of the problem? But goodbye, people.